Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Making Crossy Road in Gamesalad tutorial series. So we will be making this terrain change as you move through it. We will be making the score and the game over scene, as well as the obstacles like the cars and the trains. And this is sort of what it will look like once we're done with this part. So let's get started. If you made it through last tutorial, you should have this going on. And you can move this guy around. There's all these different terrains going on. Right now, let's go into this scene. So, in the last tutorial, we just had this wrap Y going on. So you could see that how this wraps like this, but this is a problem for when I want this terrain to change, because I'm gonna want, say, things like a terrain here and above, and we'll say when a terrain gets to this point, it changes its random value again to a different thing, so that the terrain is always changing. And if you were to wrap this, then you get all kinds of weird things going on, like overlaps, see? So, instead of wrapping it, we're just going to have a rule that says when it gets down here, move it up to up here. And so we'll put these two up here. You're also going to need to add these to our little rule that says when I press the up arrow, move to the next one, right? So you add these two, and so now when this runs, it'll run, and then there will be that gap again right there. So let's go into the actor road, and let's see. First, let's see if this is right here. What is its x-axis? So right when it gets right below the field of view where you can't see it anymore, that is about at negative, we'll just say negative 20. We can put that back up there. So we'll say when its y-axis is equal to negative 20, move it up, and I forgot to check where that is, but move it up to something like 695 if it's, well, it's 673 tall, right? So it'll be 693. Let's just create a new object. We'll say this is called the changer, something like that. And in the scene, we'll put this, oops, down to make it smaller, somewhere like that. And we'll create a rule that says when these roads collide with this, move it up here. When the actor overlaps or collides with the changer, change its attribute self position Y to self position Y plus 687 plus 20, so 707. Let's try it. Okay, but now it's looping again, but we need to say also when it collides with this, before it changes its attribute, before it changes its position Y, we're gonna take all of this stuff and do it again. But we're not going to be using the same attribute. We need a different attribute that will only change, because this, right now, if we use, so let's just collapse these so we can see everything. Right now, if we use this, it would change it. It would change everything else in the scene, and not just the one that's changing. So we're gonna create a new attribute, another integer. Call this road type change. Doesn't matter, and we'll say change 2, 1, and 8. And then you just go into here and you change all this. So instead of road type, just change it to road type change. And the last one, road type change. So let's see if that works. The terrain should be different every time I run through it, which it does appear to be, which is great. So now we have this ever-changing, looping, endless terrain that this guy can run on. Now let's fix the thing. Let's make this guy die when he hits the bottom. Scene. Edit this guy in the scene. Since I've unlocked this, any changes I make in the home actor won't affect what happened in the scene. And you create a rule that says when he overlaps. Whoops. Pause game. Its Y attribute equals 0. Then pause the game. Let's create a new scene. Game over. So, when this guy, go to the scene, game over. But it doesn't do that, which is really confusing. Let's go into this game over scene, make it, brighter color. And let's create a new actor. It's just a button. And in this button, let's make it, I don't know, a blue. And we'll say, create a rule, when actor is touched, or when he gets a tap, then change the scene back to the game. And we still have to put this button in the game over scene. So then I press this and I go back into the game. And then when I'm like, oh, I die. Yep. Okay. Now. So now we have this game over. Let's make this a little bit better. I'll get the art for this game over, and we can just have these little buttons like in the corner here that say like play again, like in the game. When you die, it kind of stays in the same scene, but it has like your score maybe here. Like you could have your score here, and you could have a button like play again, high scores. That sort of thing. So, well, let's create a score right now. So, in the game, it just has it where whenever you move forward one block, you get a point. So, we'll create a rule that when the key up is down, let's create a game attribute. We'll make this an integer. Score. And then back in here. When that up key is pressed, change the score attribute to the score +1. So it just adds every time you press it. Oops, game score to game score +1. And in the scene, we're going to want something that displays this score. We can just put in another button. Have it be like in the corner here. And then in this, we'll unlock it because we just need it in this scene. And we'll get rid of that and say display text. Where is that? Display the text score. And I like to use this future text, I guess. We'll make it white and smaller. And then you have something like that. And it just counts up. Yeah, I have so much points. And then when I die, we'll have this thingy. Unlock it again. Get rid of that. We'll have this also display the text. So, get a few points, and then eventually I die after much waiting. And then it displays your score. But we have this problem. Nope, okay. Yeah. But then when we go into the scene again, it keeps counting. So now I have 53, where I should only have, you know, like 12. So you just need to say when you press this back button to play again, when you touch this and it goes to the initial scene, you need to change the score attribute back to 0. So we have 0 points, blah blah blah. I die. And then it displays the score. 8. I go back and I have 0 points again, like I should. Now let's get to the good stuff, and I'll put in some art later, but let's make these terrains have different obstacles. So that should be fun. The road. We'll go into here to collapse all this stuff. We'll call this Looper. Okay, so now, if we're going to create a rule that says if this image guy will probably have to create an attribute, and when it is 4 or 6 like this and makes it water, we'll change an attribute to 3 or so to make it so that you know it's water. But let's just say create an attribute. If you can go into here and say the image, if it image is whatever, like road, then we're going to, just so you can see that, let's change make it red or something. So if the image is road, then change its color alpha to 0. So then when it's road, you can just see that it knows it's road and it made it transparent. Okay. But we don't want to make it transparent. We want to spawn these obstacles. So, call this road obstacles. And we're going to say spawn actor, and we haven't made any obstacle actors, so we'll call this car. And right now, this car, this is just for example purposes. I'll put a car image in here, but for now I'll just make this the width 30, I don't know, 45, and the height 30, and we'll make it red. Cars are red. And we're also going to want these cars to be moving. And we're going to want them to be moving in different directions, depending on whether this road chooses to be a right lane or a left lane. For now, let's just say, we'll just put a move in here. Have it move that to the right. And with a speed of 150. So, let's go back into our road. How come that's not collapsed? Okay, so spawn this car in the right direction. And if we just leave this like this, it's going to spawn it right in the middle of that road. See, so it just spawns those like that. And it also only spawns them when they go into the scene. So we'll put a timer on this and say every well, let's do a random. Every random, between 1 and 0.5 and 2 seconds, then spawn this actor. And that's what it's doing. And it's spawning them right in the middle. And these cars also do not move like these do. Whoa, and that is spawning them a lot. And so what you do is you just say negative 200, and it says spawn them back there where cars should be coming from. And 0.5 is a little much, obviously. So there's all these cars here moving wildly. So also, well, let's change this to, again, to something like 2.5 to 7. Make it a little less frequent. And obviously these cars that come in aren't moving, they're just going straight. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the exact same thing we did with this road, which was when the hero gets above 200, we move it fast or move it slow. So we can just copy these, and since the attribute that we're using in here, above 300, is in this actor, we're going to need to, right there, we're going to need to create that same attribute in the car attribute. So just keep that in mind. We'll just copy those, come into the car, paste them, and it'll say that it doesn't have those attributes, like I said, because we don't have that attribute. Since it's not a global attribute, it's just in that actor. So just create that boolean. I'll say above 200 that time because that's the actual value that I used. So when it is above 200, constrain the attribute above 200 to true. And when the attribute above 200 is, and it says else, otherwise make it false. So when it is true, you're going to want this guy to move slow, so this is actually false. And in this one is true, move fast. And that should work. Collapse those again. And now those cars, as you can see, are moving along. Oh, sorry. I changed a few things and didn't tell you guys. I'm so sorry. So all I did was I got rid of this change scene and just changed it to a pause game, because when it pauses, it can go to this scene, and the objects that are in the scene just show up, as you can see. So when I die, when I hit a car, it just shows up and it's over this. So that looks a little bit more like the game is. And I need to put some art in here so it looks more realistic. But anyway, you can just press this to go back. So where was I? So these cars are moving along with the road as they should be. And Now we just need to say when this guy hits one of these cars, it is also a game over. So, I'll do that. So, you need to change, I named this game over, the rule here that says if the actor goes to 0 when it hits the bottom, go to the scene, game over, or pause game. And you just change this to any, so when either one of these are true, you add this. When the actor overlaps with the car, do the same thing, pause game, game over. So then, if I'm sitting here, and I get hit by a car, I die. I can go. So, let's now do the same thing, create these little cars for trains, and we need to create the logs for the water. So, all you gotta do is just copy the car, paste, call this train, and since trains are really long, we'll make this a lot longer with, I don't know, 80 for now. Actually, maybe something more like 120. And then we just need to spawn this. Actually, let's make this a brown color, so you can see that a little bit better. And go into the road, and we're just going to copy this, except for doing that for the train. So if the self image is train, and obviously what this is, since we're calling the image, it's going to be the title of your image. So that's actually not train, it is track. And we'll do this a little less frequently. Maybe something like 5 to 15. Whoops. And if it is track, spawn the train. And this time let's go the opposite direction, so 180 to go that way. And since it is a longer image, we're going to need to go a little bit farther away. I'm not really sure what that is in the negative, because obviously you're not going to be able to see it. It's just going to be shooting off the screen. Go back into the train, and well, we want it moving that way. And in this place, road obstacles, call this train. So I messed up and put the direction, well, let's just keep that at 0, because we already have the move rule in the train itself. So now, as you can see, these trains move like they should. And obviously they're coming too frequently and they're going too slow. We just want them to go across the screen really fast like they do in the game. So let's change it to something like 1200. That should be pretty fast. They just kind of fly across the screen like that. And we will make them come less frequently, and we will make this hero guy die when he hits them, just like he did with the cars. So in the road, And get this guy. Copy this little thing. So we just add another one when he overlaps with the train. He's gonna die. And I made the trains come less frequently. Ah, dang it. I died. But we can just wait around here in the water for one. Oh, there was one. Oh, I got hit by the train and died. Okay, that's great. Finally, let's create the logs. Oh, sorry, no. We're just gonna want to copy this. Well, yeah, let's just copy this log. We will make him much shorter. And we're gonna want these to be much slower, maybe 120. Now, I'm not sure if we're gonna need to make a new attribute for this, but let's have this road spawn the water like it did those. If self-image is water, then we'll do these more frequently. On the log. And now these log things coming. And there's lots of them. So let's make these. We're gonna want these logs to be at different widths. And anything else? Let's make this maybe 1. So all we gotta do for that is say change attribute log width size width right there to a random attribute between random number between say 75 and 160 for instance. And now these logs should be different sizes. You can just hop on these, and obviously this little actor guy doesn't stay on the logs when he moves on them. But for now, let's have this guy, when he collides with the water, die. So we'll try to figure that out later. Let's just change this a different color so we can tell the difference between the train and the logs. So I hope this tutorial helped, and be sure to stay tuned for the next one.